too, Sean. That just it just feels so appropriate for I know what I'm feeling today. I think what a lot of people are feeling right now. We have had there's just been the heavy gravity of painful things happening over this last week, and I had already decided that I was going to talk about fear, and I'm going to talk about courage. And so I decided I'm just going to go ahead and stick to what I had already picked out to talk about because it's really about our ability to move into our centered self, our Christ consciousness, because that's where we are our most powerful. No matter what's going on out here, when we are in our Christ consciousness, that is where we are the most powerful that we can be. So there's a contagion. There's a contagion right now. It just may not be the one that we think. The author, Jacob Nordby, this brilliant book, Blessed Are the Weird, A Manifesto for Creatives. He writes, when humans unconsciously create out of fight or flight reaction to the forces of nature and each other, in an effort to secure our own safety, we ultimately develop a lopsided, out of balance situation that is doomed to implode. Now, we're always creating. We're always creating. Sometimes we're consciously creating with purpose and intention. But often we are unconsciously creating. And this happens when we react to a situation, someone or something outside of ourselves. We're reacting to something that frightens us and it makes us feel like we have no control. But we're spiritual beings. And we talk about our spiritual path. We talk about the power that moves through us, for us, as us. We think about and talk about where we come from, who we are, what it is that works through us. And yet, we still will find ourselves unconsciously creating from a place of fear and doubt and lack of faith and restriction and worry. Why would we do that when we're spiritual beings? And we talk about being spiritual beings and we remember this. Why would we do that? The Apostle Paul, in one of his letters to Timothy, I think he explained it really pretty well. He said, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and good discipline. It's our brain. Our brain, this human body, it kind of has a negative bias. It wants us to see dangerous situations so that we'll stay alive. We'll be able to run away from the saber-toothed tiger. But still, we tend to jump into fear like it's our second skin. Our divine design is power, love, and good discipline. Fear is an environmental virus programmed into our system. Just as a computer can catch a computer virus from going to the wrong website, we can catch an environmental fear virus by going to the wrong website. Like literally, we can actually pick it up from a website that scares us or watching something on the news. And this program of fear actually starts when we are really, really young. Parents may, and I was one of these parents that I thought, I was so worried about my children, I thought if I scared them, they would be safe. So my little boy, Adam, when he was 4 years old, he was given a pack of gum. First time he'd ever had gum. He's like, Mommy, can I have a piece of gum? I'm like, okay. But don't swallow the gum. Whatever you do, don't swallow it. It would be terrible. It would be so bad. It's very bad to swallow the gum. And apparently I laid it on pretty thick. Because a little while later, he comes running to me crying, Mommy, I swallowed my gum. And I looked at my child, my beautiful, beautiful child, tears on his little cheeks, scared. That was a proud moment for me, right? Being sarcastic. I felt terrible. So I just had to stop him. I just had to say, you're okay. You're okay. You know why I don't want you to swallow gum? No. Gum's bad for your tummy. Okay. Do you have a tummy ache? No. You're okay. You're okay. Mommy, what's going to happen to the gum? You're going to poop it out. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Now, as he got a little older, he would say things to me like, why didn't you just tell me that in the first place? But he was young. He was young. I'm so sorry, Adam. I'm still so sorry for that. But you know what? That's how fear is programmed in, and it doesn't stop when we hit adulthood. We are susceptible to fear our entire lives. When my daughter was newborn, one day I wasn't even watching TV. I was folding laundry, but the TV was on. And I heard this urgent voice say something about accidental deaths that are more common than you think, or something like that. But it caught my attention. I looked to the TV just as they showed an image of a train wreck. And I was like, oh my God, that was awful. How could they put that on TV? I turned off the TV. I was offended. I was like, how could they show that? There are little kids out here, blah, 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 right? And I went back to my day. But later on, I was running errands, and I have my babies in the backseat of my car, an infant and a 2-year-old. And I'm driving, and I find myself stopping at a set of train tracks. And I could not get myself to move across those tracks. I'm looking left, I'm looking right, I'm looking left, I'm looking right. I'm so sure that as I'm looking left, the train's gonna come out of the right. I was terrified and felt vulnerable because of my babies in the back. And finally, the cars were just piling up behind me, and I realized it's like, okay, I gotta move. I gotta go to cross those tracks. What I didn't know at the time, and I discovered this later in hypnotherapy school, that's a hypnosis trick. You shock somebody with urgent, scary information, and then you show them an image. The shock puts us into an immediate receptive state. We take in whatever is shown. We take it in as truth. Pay attention this coming fall or the next rainy season, you're going to hear this on the news. Stormwatch 2020. And you're going to be like, zoom. And that's why we watch that, because of the urgency. Okay, it's just a hypnotherapy trick. So there's fear that is programmed into us. And this is the fear that keeps us from acting. Okay, I'm not talking about instinctual fear, like if you're hiking and you hear a bear. Okay, I'm not talking about that kind of fear. I'm not even talking about the kind of fear we experience when we step out of our comfort zone. Most of us, we step out of our comfort zone on a pretty regular basis. We know that that's that nervousness of the unknown. It's the ego, the little adversary sitting on our shoulder, our little isolator, our little rebel, just trying to keep us safe in the comfort zone. And we act anyway most of the time. Okay, I'm talking about an environmentally programmed in fear that freezes us. Okay, that takes away our inner resourcefulness, which is what makes us a terrible decision maker. Okay, when we are in a lot of fear, we're not very good at making decisions either. And there's one more way that fear gets programmed into us, and that's in very small steps. We tolerate little bits of fear, a little bit at a time. There's a metaphor, the frog in the boiling water, where if you want to boil yourself some frog for dinner, you throw it in a pot of boiling water, it'll jump right out. So you put it in a pot of cold water. It likes the cold water. It tolerates the cold water. You turn it up just a little bit. It tolerates the higher levels without understanding the water's getting hotter. Okay? Then all of a sudden you have your cooked frog for dinner. This happened to me a couple of years ago, and I didn't realize it was happening. But I've shared that I hurt my back a couple years ago. It was a pretty intense injury. It kept me in bed for a couple of weeks. But I was afraid because I didn't know what was going on with my back. I was afraid. And at that point, the doctors were still, take your anti-inflammatories and take your pain pills, just get some rest, lay on an ice pack, blah, 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 blah. I was in fear. But I would get up out of my bed. I would make myself walk a lap or two around my house, like every hour and a half or so. I mean, I was moving. But I noticed one day walking out of my bedroom I felt nervous being in my living room. I didn't like it. And all I could think about was getting back to my bedroom where I could be back in bed where it was safe. Where it was safe. Now, one day, I think this is in week 3, I get a phone call. My daughter's at work and needs a ride home. I'm the only one available. I know I could drive. I've been moving around more, but I'm still spending most of my time in bed. I hobble out to the car, but see, I opened that front door and I felt this nervousness. I felt like the sky was crushing, and at the same time, it was a void that I was going to fall into. Okay, it was really overwhelming. So I got into the safety of my car where I was enclosed again. And the half mile I drove to get my daughter, I just kept thinking, okay, you're going to have your daughter in 5 minutes. She'll drive us home. You can go back to your bed. Now, luckily, that I heard the same voice said, or you can become an agoraphobic. Now, I don't mean to make light of somebody who has serious agoraphobia, but that's what I was seriously feeling. I could move into that space if I didn't stop myself right there. Because see, the day that I hurt my back, before I hurt my back, I was outside. I wasn't nervous about being outside. That was something that came on gradually. I had no idea what was happening until I actually went to step outside. We tolerate fear little bits at a time, but then all of a sudden it's big. It's big. And it's out of this doubt, out of this fear. It's out of this reaction to something outside of us that frightens us, that we have no control over. This is when we're creating out of a fight or flight response. We know how that feels to create. It doesn't feel good at all. But this is when we are building situations that are doomed to implode on us. See, fear is a virus. For the last couple of months, we've been talking about a virus all day long. But we've been talking about the wrong virus. We've been talking about the wrong one. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, power, and love and good discipline. That's what we were divinely programmed with. Fear feels terrible because it's not part of our original program. Okay, yes, instinctual fear. We should pay attention to that. Okay, comfort zone fear, stepping out of the comfort zone. We should pay attention to that. Right? But it's not fear that keeps us safe. It's common sense. Being terrified of dying in a car accident is not what makes you a safe driver. It's getting into that car and having a calmness, a centeredness, an awareness, obeying the traffic laws. You're doing everything you possibly can to have a safe experience. You do what you can. You do what you are capable of. This is what we discovered when we are in our calm, centered self. We figure out what we are capable of doing. What can we do? We can't control everything. We can't control drivers who drive too fast. So we just focus on what can we do to make this a safe experience. We are not designed to function in fear. We are not designed to try to fix life through fear, to push against life. We're not designed to do that. That is when it feels terrible. That is when our foundation cracks. That's when it feels like things are imploding. We are designed to interact with the events of our life. I'm not talking about putting ourselves in danger, but interacting with life in the best way that we can with power, love, and good discipline. Power, love, and good discipline. That's what's in our divine blueprint. They're 3 simple things. But when we dive deep into them, they're an advanced spiritual practice. And it's the antiviral to the fear that we are experiencing. It's the antiviral, right? Whether our fear is programmed in or it's comfort zone, stepping out of the comfort zone fear, it's the antiviral to that fear. So we have power. That's our ability to master our thoughts and our feelings and make choices that honor our divine nature. It's our ability to look at the conditions out here and refuse to let them take away our free will, our power of choice. I heard Mr. Rogers share a story of a child saying, "What do you do when you have so much mad?" Mr. Rogers said, "Stomp your foot. Stomp your foot. Nobody can take that away from you. You may not be able to go here or do this thing. What can you do? You can stomp your foot. Put your hand over your heart. You can breathe in. Okay, nothing can actually take away our free will. And then there's love. Love, the cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. The qualities of this cosmic love are desire, attraction, and unification. See, love as a cosmic force is an expansive force. See, the universe is an expanding universe. It's meant to keep expanding, both in the physical and in the non-physical, the unseen. There is, in the unseen realm, there's potential, there's probability, there's possibility, and it's all in a state of expansion, waiting for a vessel, which is you, to expand through. Okay, that's love. That is love, the urge of source energy itself to keep expanding itself through you. And the attraction and the unification, that's how it brings things together. That's how things happen together. And then there's the good discipline. This is when we recognize, we're willing to look and recognize, wow, I was about to make a choice that wasn't so great. All right, I'm going to take a deep breath, go to my calm, centered self, and I'm going to choose an appropriate response. I decide, I don't have to react to this. I can breathe it in, think about it for a second, and choose an appropriate response. Power, love, good discipline. Power, love, good discipline. It helps us to act and interact with our life with wisdom. With wisdom. That's the big thing right there. With wisdom. All day long, we're gathering data. Whether it's true or false, we don't know. But all day long, we're gathering data faster than we're gathering wisdom. And Sean sent me the lyrics to his song. I think it's the one he's going to play right after this. But one of the lines says, everything can be twisted to be other than what it seems. Like, this is me. Like, I'm scratching my head. I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm like, did that just happen? Is that seriously something that just happened? Okay, that's because everything can be twisted to be other than what it seems. Power, love, and good discipline. This moves us into our Christ consciousness, our centered self. We have the wisdom to be able to interact with whatever it is that's going on right now. Because we're calling forth then the qualities of the centered self or the Christ consciousness. The first quality that comes through is courage. Courage, so that we can still take action even if we are afraid. Okay, we can still move. We can still move on something. This is what courage does. We can still take action even when we're afraid, but then it allows us to move into a space of calm. Okay, we could breathe it in, calm. Then we can feel the confidence of what it is that moves through us, for us, as us. We can have confidence in trusting in faith, knowing even if we lose our way, we will still be okay. We can still course correct. We can still get back to where we want to be through faith. Okay, through faith. Then we have curiosity. Now, curiosity is important. It's an important character trait, actually, because it allows us to just open up and take it all in. But when we are in calm, in a state of calm, and trust what works through us, for us, as us, we can have clarity in all of that curiosity. We can have clarity, and we can act from common sense. Common sense. Okay, then we feel our connection. Okay, this is another trait of the centered self, the Christ consciousness. We feel our connection with everyone else, even people who we don't understand. Okay, we feel that connection, and we can feel compassion for the people that we don't understand. And have consideration. Consideration when we don't understand. You know, I had somebody show up when I was here one day last week. I heard this knocking on the door, and I opened the door, and there's one of our lovely Unity people standing there, and she has her mask on. I didn't. I said, I'm so sorry, I forgot my mask. Well, I didn't forget it. I said, I dropped it. And then I didn't know which side was the side that went to my face. I couldn't remember. And I'm like, so I'm not putting on a dirty mask. She said, that's okay. I'm wearing this mask for you in case you're worried about it. That's consideration. She doesn't know where I stand on the masks, mask or no mask, open or non-open. She doesn't know where I stand. She's just being considerate. She was having compassion. That's such a simple thing to do. And it's how we help other people. And it's how we help each other through all of this that's happening right now. Paul said in some more of his letters, he said, encourage each other, build each other up, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. This is how we are of service in the deepest, most profound way. We see with our divine sight. The law of Christ is that each of us are God expressed in a body. God is all things, everywhere present, everything that's ever been. That means you. That means me. Let me see you do this. I haven't seen this in so long. That means me. That means me. This is how we interact with the entire package of our life, with everything that's going on right now. If we're judging this part to be horrible, we don't want to deal with it. But this part over here is kind of pretty, so we'll handle that. If we do that, we're not functioning within our whole life. Okay? Acknowledging. We don't have to be okay with it, but we have to acknowledge that all of these conditions right now, they're playing together. So we acknowledge it so we can call forth divine activity through all of it. Through all of it. So it's our interacting with our life that moves us through our life. Moves us through the challenges, through the obstacles, and we come out on the other side. But we have to interact to get there. We have to acknowledge that all of these parts are working together. They're working together because they're all here. I heard Sean say this a few weeks ago. A lot of moving parts. And it kind of was just like, boom, whoa, that's our whole lives. That's everything about our lives. There's so many moving parts. I feel like I've said that 100 times since then. There's so many moving parts. Like I see some of you nodding. It's like, yeah, she's saying it all the time, man. The other day I was driving with my son Adam, and he gave me a little education on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It's over an hour long. This is a music piece with a lot of moving parts, and they're all necessary to the piece. They're all necessary to the Ninth Symphony. If you were to take the stack of sheet music, which I imagine has to be that thick, there's so much music. If you were to throw it all up in the air and decide you were only going to play the parts that landed face up, that wouldn't be the Ninth Symphony anymore. Okay, it just wouldn't be what it is. To then say you have the Ninth Symphony, now you're going to add in an orchestra. There's more moving parts. Many players, many moving parts. Okay, then you have the conductor. Okay, the conductor who's leading this. Okay, the conductor. And you have the music. You have the orchestra. They're paying attention to the music. They're paying attention to the conductor. They're creating this beautiful piece. They're not stopping in the middle and checking social media. Okay, they're not stopping on page 18 and saying, I don't like this part. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to sit here and stare at it and complain about it for a while. Okay, they're not doing that. They're staying together. They're focused on the conductor. They flow through the entire piece, and then the piece is done. Because they interacted with every part. Then the piece is done. This is actually a perfect metaphor if you think about power, love, and good discipline. Okay, love is the expression of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It was expressed. Power and good discipline. Focusing on the conductor. You could say the conductor is our soul, okay, or receiving the divine guidance. Okay, focusing on the conductor, focusing on the music, so that the piece can be created. Right? Love, power, love, good discipline. Our life is a divine symphony, and it is filled with so many moving parts, and all of them are playing a part. Some big parts, some little parts, but they're all playing a part. Now, I'm not saying that this is, okay, well, so dangerous situation, just play a part in my life. I'll just let it happen, okay? But the fact is that there are things that are unfair, that are things that are unjust, that are things that are unhealthy, and they're playing out in our lives. They're playing out in our lives. That means it's on the game board. It's on the game board. And if it's on the game board of our life, it has to be addressed in whatever way we can address it. It's addressed through our activity. Okay, our activity. Florence Scovel Shinn said, many people consider life a battle, but it's not a battle, it's a game. See, we only see life as a battle when we have divine amnesia. We forget who we are. We forget where we come from. We forget how we serve. That's divine amnesia. We play the game of life by interacting with life. That's what calls forth the solutions. That's what moves us forward. We can change a thing or we can't change a thing. So we change it or we rise above it. But either way, we're moving forward. And when we are in our centered self, when we are in our Christ consciousness self, we're in wholeness. We're in wholeness. So we're calling forth the divine activity. We're calling forth the solutions so we can act in the best way possible to do our best with what we've got right here and now. See, our lives right now, it's no longer about being spiritually and personally empowered so we can feel good about ourselves. Okay, we're past that. It's time to take everything we have ever learned and empower each other. Your life is set up for your awakening. But you have to interact with all of the parts to get woke. Right? We're in a great awakening right now. The centered self is the antiviral to the fear. Courage is the inoculation. Okay, courage. We have to be able to step out of this programming, step out of our comfort zone so we can embody courage. So we feel the calm, so we can pay attention to the confidence, have the confidence, what works through us, for us and as us. Even if we lose our way, we'll find our way back. We have faith in that. Okay? We have that courage. We have curiosity. Curiosity, we have that wide open mind. We take it all in, but we have clarity. So we can act from common sense. Not fear. That's creating out of fight or flight, and that feels terrible. We already know that. We know it feels bad. So we just go into calm and then pure curiosity. Have the clarity, and out of common sense, we act for our highest good. Now, I'm not telling you what to do at all. Mask or no mask. Opening or not opening. I'm just inviting you to try out this feeling of being in your centered self. Then you have the wisdom, you know to do what's best for yourself. Right? That's just really what we're all looking for. To do our best with what we've got with a wise warrior heart. Doing our best. That's where we move into connection with each other. That's where we feel the compassion. That's where we have the consideration for each other. See, we're here for each other and we meet others then where they are. Right where they are. Right where they are, they may be really uncomfortable or scared about something. So we just see with our divine sight. Our divine sight. We see who they are. We see where they come from. We see what it is that works through them. We hold that for them when they cannot see it for themselves. We are here for a great awakening, but we're here for a great awakening for each other, not just ourselves, right? We all move forward together. We are all moving forward together. So I thank you. I just thank you for whatever you do and however you do it, however you decide to bring the hope and bring the joy and bring the grace and bring the faith and bring the forgiveness and bring the love. Right? Just bringing all that good. However it is that you want to love yourself and love your neighbor. I thank you for doing that because that's how we are creating heaven on earth. So, until next time, remember you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the heart and you are the hands of spirit in this world. You are a soul designed for growth and goodness. You're designed to do all this stuff. Designed to. In everything you do, you are blessed. So it is. And so it is. Thank you.